little addendum to my video showing the prices on these things. See, I'm not making this shit up. I mean, obviously, you can find better deals by going through individuals like we did, but these dealers are insane. I'll just scroll down through here, like, see the prices on these things. 84, 66,000 miles on it. It's still an 11-year-old vehicle. 149,000 miles, 44.95. We're at 95,000 miles and paid 34. 69.50, 119,000 miles, and it's a two-wheel drive, by the way. I'm pretty sure that one's a four-cylinder too. Four-cylinder for almost $7,000 with 119,000 miles on it. Yeah, this one's the only reasonable priced one right here. But yeah, it's got nearly 250,000 miles on it. And I don't think that's very reasonable because that is a lot of miles. It's not focusing very good. There we go. Freaking 210,000 miles. 140,000 miles. 137,000 miles. And see, this is a weird oddball, and they're so proud of it, they only have a stock photo. Makes me wonder, they park it under a tree for the last 5 years. Why won't they show you a picture of it? So you see what I'm saying? And a lot of these things, look how far away they are from my location. I did have to drive about 45 miles for this one, the one that we did get, but still, 500 miles, 300 and something miles, 285. 485. Yeah, it's just insanity to get an old Hyundai, 11-year-old Hyundai. Wow. What? Oh, some of these I pulled them open and looked at the interiors, like rips in the interior, scuffs on the bumpers and shit. And they still want these premium price tags on these things. Anyway, there that is. So my middle kid needed a car, and so we found this thing for her. So 2008 Hyundai Tucson. It's got the V6 in it. We went and test drove it from this old guy, and he already had it warmed up. So right away I had my suspicions. The AC worked really good. It drove good and everything. I just had a feeling that he was hiding something by heating it up first. I did find out somebody test drove it right before us. They left their flip phone in it, and I think he kind of played us off the people who looked at it before us. So anyway, these cars, I looked on the internet for these stupid cars, and something in about the same condition as this in my area right now is going for like $5,000 to $6,000 with, you know, relatively no rust on it or whatever, and runs good. Doesn't matter if it's a V6 or a four-cylinder. Doesn't matter if it's all-wheel drive or two-wheel drive. This one's a two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. So anyway, the old guy had it warmed up. My daughter just got her license on Monday, and we actually bought this car last week before she just, you know, she already had her license scheduled. So we went ahead and she had her money, and I put in some money on this car. We went and looked at it and drove it, and she liked it. And so we bought it. It's in her name. She wasn't ready to put it on the road right away, obviously, so I got a car carrier, and I just towed it home and dumped it here in my driveway. And I left it sitting for about 24 hours. Came back out and started it up. And boy, something in this area over here was just chirping. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Sound like there was a little birdie down in there. And right then and there, I knew that old guy had warmed the car up to cover up whatever was chirping down in there. Because I went ahead and just let the car run for about 15-20 minutes, come up to full operational temperature, and sure enough, that chirp quieted right down. And then I reproduced what he did to us too also. He had that AC on down there, on blast too, as soon as you start the car. So this freaking cooling fan would come on and mask it. I did turn off the AC and was listening to the engine, but by then it was all warmed up. and the chirp had gone away. The chirp would go away by the time it warmed up. So I had my suspicions. It was down in this area. It had to be idlers on the timing belt or the freaking water pump buried in there. And so, you know, since my daughter just got this car, I don't want it to break down on her, and she really likes it. And they cost $6,000 apparently, and we only paid $34,000 for this one, and it's only got 95,000 miles on it. I found out that the thing's been pretty dang well maintained. It has a Hyundai oil filter on it. There's a sticker up in the window from Hyundai. This thing was taken to Hyundai almost religiously and had the oil changed. I imagine they told the old codger it was time to do some maintenance. Time to do some maintenance there, old guy. You're gonna need a timing belt and a water pump, they probably told him. And so he didn't want to deal with it, so he dumped it on the internet. Because I know the mechanics would have probably charged him about probably over $1,000 for what I did to this thing. I pulled the intake off and to get to the back 3 spark plugs and put all new spark plugs in it, and I put a new timing belt in it, and I put a new water pump in it, and new idlers, and a new drive belt, and new spark plug wires, and changed out all the fluids. And now this little baby runs like a top. So I mean, it ran good before, except for that fucking chirp down there. Yeah, I knew that was going to be a problem. He knew it too. It was probably the bearing in the water pump saying, I'm going to fail one of these days soon, so you better go ahead and take care of me. That's what I'm thinking it was. So yeah, so it's all done, and there's all the bits. I even did I did the brake pads too. So the fronts were a little thin, the backs were probably fine. I didn't need to fuck with them, but I went ahead and put in new ones because I got the tapered ones. They seem to spit out the dust better, and then the sliders, the freaking rails that they sit in were all rusted and goopy. So I replaced those. New idlers. The timing belt actually isn't looking too bad of shape. I mean, it's got some cracking in the back of it, but the other side looks real good. I don't see no fibers hanging out or nothing. I imagine it was done around 60,000 miles. So this old guy was the second owner, I found out, and he bought it from, you know, some dealership at 65,000 miles, which is right after when Hyundai says you better change the damn timing belt or you're gonna lose your warranty. So I'm pretty sure that they did the timing belt around 60 grand, because this thing only looks like it's probably got about 30,000 miles on it, and probably could go another 30. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look too bad to me. Wires didn't look too bad. Some of the spark plugs look like shit. Some erosion. But they're iridium, and they're meant to go like 100,000 miles, so the way it's buried up under that intake, that's the way to go. So you don't have to deal with it, but every 100,000 miles. I did put a new upper intake gasket on it as well. Here's the old water pump. It does feel a little like I was playing with it, and it feels a little like there's a little slop in it. Like it's not as tight as the new one whatsoever. So yeah, there we go. And so these things apparently go for like $6 grand in my area without any rust on them, and higher mileage than this. This has only got 95, so the ones I've been finding are 119,000, 145,000, and they want 45, 55, 66. I even saw some madman wanted $9,000 for one of these things. There was a couple of them that had ridiculously low mileage, like they just never got through, like 25,000 miles on one, and another one had like 71. Those two might actually be worth about $5 grand or something, you know, with that low mileage, but these other ones is just dumb. Yeah, the hydraulic tensioner was a little rusted up too. I mean, I could see this thing going eventually. It's real thin on this side. So yeah, I'm glad it's got new bits in it for her, and she's worked hard to get here to this point where she can drive her own vehicle. Let me crank this thing up real quick. I don't want to leave you guys hanging. You can hear my stupid timing belt job. You can hear all the valves crunching. I'm not a mechanic, by the way. I just pretend to be one on the weekends. Timing belt swap out from Dad. I was down on it. I haven't started it today either. It's cold to start. There it is. Everything works on this car really good. Could use maybe a detail on the out, like a wax. Me and my other daughter cleaned it out for her because it was kind of dirty on the inside. The old guy kept it from rusting, but he didn't keep it clean. I don't think. He didn't really keep it very clean. So yeah, the seats are in pretty good shape. Everything works on it. All the adjustable mirrors work. Stereo sounds pretty damn good. There's no blown speakers in it. So it's a good little starter car for a 19-year-old girl, I guess. I made her pay for half of it, so she'd have some skin in the game. All the parts and maintenance was only about $270. I just had it all delivered. I didn't go running around looking for shit. So this thing's got about, what, we got $3,600 into this car now, and it's good. I think it'll last her a little while. She keeps it long enough. I'll redo this time about 60,000 miles. Like Hyundai TGS. Or if it starts, anything down in there starts making a bunch of rackets. Anyway, there it is.